Chapter 4498. Chinchu remained silent. His mind seemed to be racing as he thought of a countermeasure. Do you think this monster will run to South Hill Manor? Our people are all there, so you felt scared just thinking about it. If she went to South Hill Manor, wouldn't they be wiped out? Chinchu shook his head and said with certainty, no, she won't dare to go. Everyone was at South Hill Manor and they all knew that in the dream, and had worked with Suyu to kill Messiah. The professor was also there. Even if this dream creator was crazy, she wouldn't dare to go against the gun. Now that 2 dream creators had died, it was not wise to send themselves to death even though they knew the situation was bad. Seeing how this dream creator had been hiding in Bella for so long, one could tell that she was a very shrewd dream creator. Therefore she definitely wouldn't foolishly choose to go to South Hill Manor to die. That was why Chinchu was so sure that she wouldn't go. Suyu was about to say something when Chinchu suddenly spoke. Suyu, do you remember what Mion's mother looks like? You mean, Linya? No, it's my mother-in-law. It's Auntie Yang. I remember. Yes, use the rosary beads to bring us to her. Hurry. Suyu didn't ask why. In a critical moment, as long as Chinchu said something, he was willing to believe his analysis. Suyu closed his eyes and activated the rosary beads again. Yang Meirong's image appeared in his mind. In an instant, they arrived at Yang Meirong's house in Sky Blessing Court. However, at this moment the living room was covered in blood. The bodyguards, private doctors and nannies that Chinchu had sent to protect his mother-in-law were all lying in pools of blood. Oh my god, are we too late? Suyu looked at the scene in shock. Even though he knew it was a dream, he was still shocked. Chinchu watched all this without moving an inch. Then he looked at the stairs upstairs. Suyu, let's go up. Be careful, he said. After that, Suyu followed behind Chinchu, and the 2 men walked upstairs step by step. The blessed heavenly garden was no longer as warm as it was in the past. Instead, it was replaced by a chilling atmosphere. When the 2 reached the master bedroom upstairs, Chinchu suddenly stopped in his tracks. Then he heard a woman singing from the room. She sang a cappella. The cool breeze from the south, the nightingale sings softly, the flowers under the moon are all in a dream, only that night is fragrant. Suyu felt his scalp go numb as he listened. This song, Yi Lai Xiong, was a classic song by the superstar Teresa Ting. It was a very charming old song. But now the atmosphere was no less than a haunted house. Listening carefully, it wasn't Bella's voice, and it certainly wasn't Yang Meirong's either. Chinchu clenched his fists and pushed open the door. The 2 men were a little surprised by the scene inside. They thought that Yang Meirong had already been killed by Bella. Unexpectedly, Yang Meirong was sitting on the makeup chair, putting on makeup in front of the mirror. She was wearing a dark green velvet cheongsam, which suited the feeling of old Shanghai. As for Bella, or rather the 3rd dream creator, she was still using Bella's face. She was wearing a dark red cheongsam. It was very sexy, the kind that exposed her legs. She was standing behind Yang Meirong, combing her hair. As she combed her hair, she sang Yi Lai Xiong. Suyu and Chinchu felt like they were watching a scene from a horror movie. It was the kind of scary atmosphere before a ghost came out. Suyu swallowed his saliva unconsciously to express his nervousness. At this moment, Bella suddenly turned around and smiled at them. You guys are here? That smile was extremely strange. Chapter 4499. Let go of my mom. Chinchu glanced at Bella coldly. However, the woman acted as if she didn't hear Chinchu. Then she whispered into Yang Meirong's ear, Mom, look. Who's here? Yang Meirong turned her head slowly. He glanced at Chinchu and then at Suyu with his dull eyes. Who are they? What did you do to my mom? Seeing that his mother-in-law didn't recognize him anymore, Chinchu was a little anxious. If something happened to his mother-in-law, Mion wouldn't be able to bear it. Nothing, I just told her to dress up. I'm taking her to see Jingda. After Bella finished speaking, she laughed maniacally. Her laughter was very demonic. Suyu and Chinchu's hearts tightened when they heard this. Whether it was the Jingda in the real world or in the dream, he was already dead. So, did Bella mean to send Yang Meirong to her death? If you have anything to say, come at us. Don't bully the old. Suyu pointed at Bella and scolded. Bella wasn't in a hurry. She continued to comb Yang Meirong's hair. Then she chuckled softly. You guys are quite capable. You've killed 2 dream creators. I was thinking that if I didn't expose my identity, you guys might slowly find out. Why don't I wake up and fight you guys? You're really good at pretending to be in a vegetative state. I didn't expect it to be you. Sue, you really didn't expect it to be Bella. Who's the boss behind you? What's his motive? Are you all here for the red demon? At this point, Chin-Chu didn't want to hide anymore. He might as well ask to see if he could find out anything about the person behind them. Bella only smiled slightly. Other dream creators might be working for the red demon or the boss behind them, but I'm not. So you have other motives. Chin-Chu looked into Bella's eyes. Bella put down the comb in her hand. Then she turned around and took 2 steps forward to look at Chin-Chu. Do you really not recognize me? We've met before. Chin-Chu was slightly startled by Bella's words. He didn't seem to understand what Bella meant. He was also baffled. At this moment, Bella covered her face with one hand and lowered her head. When he raised his head again, his expression had changed. That face was no longer Bella's. The dream creator was not Bella herself. She had used Bella's identity to hide beside them. Now that her identity had been exposed, there was no way for her to continue hiding. Was that why he wanted to show his true face to others? But this face. At that moment, Chin-Chu looked at it and felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity, but he did not know where he had seen it before. This was a very beautiful face, sexy and exquisite. This woman looked to be in her 20s. Her face was full of collagen. Anyone who saw her would say that she was a standard beauty. Chin-Chu, do you really not remember me? The woman looked at Chin-Chu with a hint of resentment in her eyes. Chin-Chu, you know her? Suyu turned to look at Chin-Chu, not knowing what to do. No one expected the third dream creator to suddenly show her face, and she looked like an old friend of Chin-Chu. Chin-Chu felt like his head was about to explode. He tried hard to remember, but he couldn't remember where he had seen this woman before. Then the woman smiled slightly and changed her clothes. She took off the sexy dark red cheongsam and turned into a black nightgown. There was even a mask on her face. Looking at those eyes that he hadn't seen in a long time, Chin-Chu suddenly remembered. So, it's you. He pointed at the woman. Chapter 4500. It turned out that this woman's eyes looked like a person's. It was Mion's. They looked very similar to Mion's. But with those exquisite facial features, she didn't look like Mion. Only when she put on a mask would she. Therefore Chin-Chu remembered everything. This was a party he attended with Qin Ning a few years ago when he was recuperating in the United States. The woman he accidentally saved, black night suit, eyes that looked like Mion's, lighter? Doomsday Death God? Yes, she was from the Doomsday Death God. However, the Doomsday Death God actually had a dream creator. This was something Chin-Chu never expected. You're from the Doomsday Death God? Chin-Chu frowned slightly as he looked at her, a chill rising in his heart. Many people knew about the mysterious organization Doomsday Death God, but not many had seen it before. Chin-Chu had only met them in a hurry back then because he had accidentally saved someone. It wasn't intentional. And the lighter that the woman left behind had indeed helped Chin-Chu a lot. At least En and the others were afraid of it. Chin-Chu thought that he would never be able to come into contact with this mysterious organization in his life. Who would have thought that they would meet in the nightmare? Previously, Chin-Chu had thought that Layla was that woman. Later on, when Linya died and Layla collapsed, he realized that Layla was just a figment of the dream creator and did not exist. However, no matter what, Chin-Chu did not expect that woman to be the third dream creator. Haha, you actually remembered me. The woman smiled in satisfaction as she stared at Chin-Chu with a different light in her eyes. She's from the Doomsday Death God? Suyu had heard of this organization, so he was stunned when he heard Chin-Chu's words. The woman ignored Suyu and continued to speak to Chin-Chu. Chin-Chu, if I said that I entered the dream for you, would you believe me? Chin-Chu did not answer her sudden question. Instead, he looked at her in confusion. I thought Layla was. I didn't expect it to be you. Layla? Are you talking about that puppet? Yes, Linya is dead. She was the puppet that collapsed. Chin-Chu said. Bella smiled. No, she's not Linya. She's one of us and an outstanding dream creator. She just transformed into Linya to confuse you. Of course, they all underestimated you, so they died without a complete corpse. I'm different from them. They came for the red demon, and I came for you. This woman said, I came for you. Not only was Chin-Chu speechless, but Suyu was also confused. He thought to himself, what's going on? Were they Chin-Chu's crazy fans? Did he chase her into her dreams? Wouldn't that be too much? What do you want? Qin Chu looked at the woman coldly. What I want is very simple. I cannot kill anyone. I can also let your people out, help you interpret the dream. But I have a condition. You have to come with me. Qin Chu didn't say anything. Su Yu on the other hand found an excuse and cursed, "You shameless bitch, you sure are ambitious. You want Qin Chu? Why don't you fucking ascend to heaven?" The woman looked at Su Yu and smiled. Aren't you the happiest person that Qin Chu is gone? I like Qin Chu so I want to take him away. You like Qin Chu's wife and child so you can get everything you want. Isn't that the perfect ending? Fuck you, stop trying to scare me. You can't take anyone away today and the two of us will kill you together. Su Yu had a bad temper and was angered by the woman's words. He immediately cursed. Chapter 45:01. Qin Chu, are you really not willing to come with me? The woman looked at Qin Chu affectionately. When she transformed into Bella, she hid it very well and could not be seen through it all. However, once she returned to her original appearance, she could no longer hide her infatuation with Qin Chu. That gaze did not seem fake. Without waiting for Qin Chu to speak, the woman continued, with your strength alone, it's almost impossible to kill the 4 dream creators and escape. The 4 dream creators are all our people. They're all our people. You might not know how strong we were when we were born. Our people are talented so we're natural dream creators. As the future heir I didn't have to enter the dream personally. But because of you I stayed in the dream for so long. Qin Chu, I once thought that no man in this world was worthy of me. Until I met you in America. At that moment I was almost certain that you were the man I had always wanted to find. Come with me. I can give you everything that Huamin can give you. I can give you everything that Huamin can't give you. As long as you want I can give you anything. If you don't want to return to the real world I can create a sea of flowers for you in your dream. We can build a transparent glass house in the sea of flowers. Then we can watch the stars together at night. We can also have many children. As long as you're willing I'll stay in the dream with you for the rest of my life. The more the woman spoke, the more agitated she became. In the end she even shed tears of excitement. She liked Qin Chu for a long time. She had been observing him in her dream for the past few days. She was only waiting for the last person to die. When the red demon was in her hands and the others left, she would find an opportunity to take Qin Chu away alone. However, she did not expect things to turn around. Half of their people were dead. Qin Chu and Su Yu began their counterattack. Fuck little bitch, it's time to wake up. If you continue even you will think that it's real. Qin Chu was unmoved by what the woman described. However, Su Yu didn't have the patience to wait for her to continue and interrupted her. Qin Chu on the other hand stood in front of the woman. After hearing her passionate confession he only responded with a faint sentence. Help us interpret the dream and bring us all out. We can spare your life. After Qin Chu finished speaking, Su Yu couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. Qin Chu, you're so cool. You listened to her blabber so much and then slapped her in the face with one sentence, haha. Qin Chu, are you really not going to think about it? I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to hurt you. Don't force me really. The woman looked at Qin Chu as if her heart was aching for the fairer sex. Cut the crap. Let's get this over with. My wife is still waiting for me to eat hot pot at home. Qin Chu was running out of patience. In this world other than Huamin no other woman could move his heart for even a second. No one. Alright, since you're so stubborn. I'll show you something fun first. With that the woman clenched her fists. No one knew what she was doing. The comb on Yang Meirong's table suddenly turned into a poisonous snake with a black body and a red head. Then it flew up and wrapped around Yang Meirong's neck twice. Finally it flicked its tongue at its face. Help. There's a snake. There's a snake. Yang Meirong screamed in fear. Before Qin Chu and Su Yu could say anything the woman said. The woman said proudly, Huamian's mother is a real person in the dream. If I give the order my baby will bite her to death. If she dies then she's dead in the real world. Do you understand? Chapter 45:02. After hearing what the woman said Su Yu panicked. Because he knew how important this foster mother was to Huamin. Once something happened to Yang Meirong Huamin would definitely break down. But at this moment Qin Chu was much calmer than usual. The stronger the opponent the more dangerous the situation the more Qin Chu had to remain calm. He did not want to be led by the nose by the enemy. Perhaps it was because of this reverse thinking that Qin Chu was able to escape calamity time and time again. Qin Chu looked at the woman from the doomsday death god. His eyes were still as calm as water. Of course we understand this. But you should also understand that it's not a coincidence that we were able to kill 2 dream creators in such a short period of time. If you kill our people in the dream, we will be completely dead. But similarly, if we kill you in the dream, you won't be able to return to the real world. Haha, are you threatening me? Do you think that since I've entered this dream, I would be afraid of you dying? Besides, there are 4 of us, and a group of you. It's worth it. 1 life in exchange for many lives. Qin Chu, do you know what I like about you the most? Then the woman looked at Qin Chu affectionately again. Qin Chu didn't say anything. What I like the most is how fearless you are. It's as if you won't frown even if the earth is destroyed. But such a powerful man is captivated by an ordinary woman like Huamin. How disappointing. Huamin is really not good enough for you. If you're with me, we'll have more fun. The woman took the opportunity to persuade Qin Chu again. Fuck, are you done? Aren't you annoying? Can't you tell that he doesn't like you? You're a woman, how can you be so shameless? Even if you look like Athena, Qin Chu won't like you. Do you understand? The woman's words angered Suyu. Suyu was someone who would not allow anyone to say anything bad about Huamin. However, the woman did not care about Suyu at all. She continued to speak to Qin Chu. Actually, even if you kill me, it's too late. Time is almost up. You won't be able to find a 4th dream creator in such a short period of time. When the time comes, the dream world will collapse and our dream creators will wipe you out. Qin Chu, it's not easy to live. You're a genius, why do you have to die with these mortals? From the woman's words, Suyu and Qin Chu heard 2 important pieces of information. Firstly, they didn't have much time left, even in their dreams. Secondly, the 4th dream creator might be hiding even deeper than Bella, so it was not easy to find her in such a short time. Therefore, the result was not very good, and that was, in the end, everyone might die. Suyu was furious. He pointed at the dream creator and scolded again. Do you not understand human language? Let me translate for you. Qin Chu's meaning is obvious. He would rather die with us mortals than live with a monster like you. I think you're a toad who wants to eat swan meat. Afraid that Qin Chu would misunderstand, Suyu turned around and added to Qin Chu. What I mean is you're a swan and she's a toad. Qin Chu was speechless. Qin Chu remained unmoved after hearing the woman's words. Then he suddenly turned to Yang Meirong. Then he smiled gently. Mom, do you still remember what you have to do every weekend at 9 in the morning? The dream creator and Suyu were both stunned. They didn't know what Qin Chu was going to do. Chapter 4503. Yang Meirong was slightly stunned when she heard this. Her consciousness was basically controlled by this dream creator. Therefore, she was a little silly and did not recognize Qin Chu and Suyu. However, Qin Chu told her a time and she had some impression of it. Then she tried her best to think about what she had to do every weekend morning. She definitely would not forget such a habit after such a long time. Sure enough, Yang Meirong had a flash of inspiration and finally remembered. Every weekend at 9 o'clock in the morning, she would chant scriptures and pray in the study. Yang Meirong was a Buddhist. Perhaps she was influenced by her old neighbor, but there was a portrait of Bodhisattva in the study. Perhaps it was because she wanted to have something to look forward to. So Yang Meirong ate vegetarian on the 1st and 15th of every month and chanted scriptures on the weekend. Qin Chu once overheard Huamin mention it. As for what scripture she was chanting, he didn't know, so he took a risk. After all, if Suyu's great compassion mantra was useful, then no matter what Buddhist scriptures his mother-in-law chanted, it should be useful. At this critical moment, there was no time to think about many things. Even if it was a last resort, he had to give it a try. This was Qin Chu's style of doing things. She didn't know what Qin Chu was up to, but she was afraid that he would play tricks. The dream creator put his finger in his mouth and made a sound. The venomous snake suddenly pounced towards Yang Meirong's face. It was so fast that it was shocking. Suyu's heart almost jumped out of his chest. At this moment, Yang Meirong closed her eyes and mumbled something. The venomous snake suddenly stopped in front of her. Then its head swayed left and right, but it did not attack forward. The dream creator was a little anxious and made another sound, but the snake still did not react. Qin Chu looked at his mother-in-law's lips, and read her lips. He realized that she was chanting, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. When he walked the deep Prajna Paramitha, he saw that the 5 skandhas were all empty, and he passed through all suffering. This was a Buddhist sutra. Seemed like Mian was right. His mother-in-law was indeed chanting. And judging from the snake's reaction, the Heart Sutra was effective. Before the dream creator could react, Chinchu whispered to Suyu. Suyu, let's go. Suyu reacted quickly and ran towards the dream creator with Chinchu. Just as he was about to reach that woman, a sudden downpour fell from the sky. The water made their vision blurry. When Chinchu and Suyu opened their eyes again, they suddenly found that the scene in the room had changed. The house was nowhere to be found. What replaced it was a vast ocean, and the two of them were in the middle of a violent tsunami. Another huge wave came crashing down. Suyu, quickly gather your consciousness. This is a dream. Chinchu loudly reminded Suyu. Suyu quickly closed his eyes and concentrated on condensing his consciousness. The two of them quickly condensed their consciousnesses, and the tsunami instantly faded away. Their surroundings became quiet. When they opened their eyes again, the scene had changed again. They were in a very dark room. There were mirrors behind them, and the dream creator had 8 clones. They stood around them, surrounding them in a circle. What's going on? 72 transformations? Did we meet a monkey? Suyu cursed. Before Chinchu could say anything, a bow and arrow had appeared in the hands of the 8 dream creators. Then the 8 of them released their arrows. Be careful, Chinchu shouted again. Chapter 4504. Then he and Suyu quickly dodged, but just as they snatched one wave, the second wave came. That speed and number had already exceeded the limits of humans. Fuck, I'm not dodging anymore. This is a dream, this is a dream. Suyu stood on the spot, panting. Then he closed his eyes and gathered his consciousness. Suddenly Chinchu pounced over and pushed Suyu away. Then Suyu opened his eyes and saw that Chinchu had been shot in the arm. The arrow pierced through Chinchu's entire arm. How did this happen? Suyu was dumbfounded. The bone-piercing pain assaulted him. Chinchu endured the pain and stood up. He whispered to Suyu, she's different from the 2 dream creators. The scenes she creates are both real and fake. Some are real and some are fake. The sea just now was an illusion, but although this clone is a smokescreen, it's real. Even if you gather your consciousness, you won't be able to do it. Fuck, that's so strange. How did you tell? By her gaze, Chinchu said. Gaze? Whose gaze? Chinchu was speechless. Chinchu said, look at that dream creator's gaze. When she created the scene, her pupils were blue, but now her pupils are black. So, I'm guessing that if you get hit by the arrow, you'll definitely die. After Suyu heard this, he looked at Chinchu in admiration. I really have to hand it to you. You can even notice such a small detail. Cut the crap. Be careful. With that, Chinchu turned around and prepared to fight. Suyu suddenly understood why Huamin loved this man so much. There was indeed an indescribable charisma about him. Whether it was friends, family, or lovers, they would all feel inexplicably safe by his side. Suyu looked at the angle. If Chinchu hadn't pushed him away, then he would have been the one who was shot, and it wouldn't have been as simple as his arm. It would have been his heart. Therefore, if Chinchu hadn't pushed him away in time, he would have died. How could he still be alive and talking here? Seeing that Chinchu could continue fighting after being shot, Suyu felt that he couldn't lose as a man. Thus, the 2 men had their backs against each other, preparing to fight side by side again. Seeing that Chinchu was injured, the dream creator didn't immediately continue shooting. Instead, she looked at Chinchu's injuries. You, Chinchu, Suyu, Chinchu, 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 Chinchu. I'd rather die here than leave with you. Come on. Let's continue. Chinchu crooked his finger to block out the piercing pain in his arm. Then he carefully observed Chinchu. He tried Chinchu. Chinchu was Chin. When Suyu saw that Chinchu was injured, he suddenly had a fighting spirit. While the dream creator was talking to Chinchu, he suddenly rushed forward. Then he punched one of them in the face. He was so fast that no one could deal with him. However, the one that Suyu hit instantly turned into a bubble. It turned out that it was just a fake. It made sense. 1 out of 8. This was a very difficult question. The scariest thing was that the bubble that was shattered by Suyu reformed within a few seconds. Then the 8 of them started to spin rapidly. This way, even Suyu couldn't figure out which one he had hit. The difficulty continued to increase. Qin Chu and Suyu both started to focus because they knew that either the dream creator or the two of them would die in this battle. Chapter 4505. Suyu. Yes. Chant the Great Compassion Mantra quick. In the darkness, Qin Chu whispered to Suyu. Suyu immediately closed his eyes and thought of this life-saving trump card. Then he chanted the Great Compassion Mantra. Indeed, according to Qin Chu's guess, the moment the Great Compassion Mantra was chanted, all the arrows stopped in mid-air. Then Qin Chu took the opportunity to open his eyes and observe. He realized that the woman standing in the second position had a glint in her eyes. This was a small detail that the other 7 did not have. Therefore, while the arrow was still in place, Qin Chu bent down and went under it. He tripped the woman. He believed that this was the real deal. Indeed, after the woman fell, she did not disappear. Seeing that he had guessed correctly, Qin Chu quickly flipped over and grabbed the woman's throat. Suddenly, he felt a burning sensation in his hand and realized that his neck had turned into a ball of flames. The burning sensation came from his palm. It felt real and did not feel like an illusion. However, Qin Chu knew that if he let go, he would lose. Therefore, even though it was extremely painful, he refused to let go and used even more strength. Suyu used the sutra to stop the dream creator's arrows so that she could not attack them. Qin Chu took the opportunity to attack the dream creator. These two men worked really well together. After some time, Qin Chu felt that his hand was almost numb from the burn. Suddenly his hand turned cold, he lowered his head and the fire was gone. The dream creator's real body was lying on Qin Chu's body, her face pale and weak. I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You are indeed the man I like. It was indeed strange for her to say such words at this time. Qin Chu did not know what to say. Then the woman said, Qin Chu, my name is Shalana. Remember my name, I loved you. Qin Chu still did not know what to say, but he let go of his hand, because he knew that she was about to die. He couldn't even use his talent as a dream creator. Actually, I have a way to kill you, but I don't want to do that. I've had enough in this life. I have everything I want. I hope that I won't enter the Doomsday Reaper in my next life. I want to live a normal life like all girls. I want to find someone I like, get married and have children with him. Hearing this, Qin Chu had mixed feelings. It seemed that even a terrifying force like the Doomsday Death God would envy the ordinary lives of ordinary people in the end. Qin Chu, I'm a little cold. Can you hold my hand? Her original appearance was actually very beautiful. She was a very clean and young lady. Her smile was so sweet. Qin Chu, don't. It might be a trap. Suyu opened his eyes and reminded Qin Chu. Qin Chu hesitated slightly but still chose to believe this woman. He reached out and gently held the woman's cold hand. It seemed that Mion was right. The temperature of a dream creator was indeed different from that of an ordinary person. Her hand was very cold. Thank you. The woman smiled in relief, but her aura was obviously weaker. Who is the fourth dream creator? Qin Chu asked her. The fourth dream creator is in your group. The woman said. I know. Tell me, who is it? It's actually... The woman leaned close to Qin Chu's ear and was about to tell him the answer. Before the woman could finish, Qin Chu felt that something was wrong. He quickly moved away from the woman. Then he heard a muffled sound. The woman's body exploded. Then, it turned into a pool of green liquid. It was extremely disgusting. The third dream creator is dead. Suyu said blankly. Qin Chu nodded. Did she tell you who the fourth one is? Suyu asked. Chapter 4506. Qin Chu shook his head. Then let's leave this place first and take Auntie Yang with us, Suyu suggested. Qin Chu nodded and quickly walked up to Yang Meng. After the third dream creator died, all of her illusions collapsed. Qin Chu and Suyu took the unconscious Yang Mirong and were not in a hurry to return to South Hill Manor. Instead, they went to the first hospital to pick up Xixin. Suyu used the prayer beads and the three of them returned to the first hospital almost instantly. They actually wanted to confirm if Xixin was an illusion or if he had entered the dream in person. Just as Qin Chu thought, Xixin had entered the dream in person. Xixin was quite surprised to see Qin Chu and Suyu return. Brother-in-law, brother Suyu. What's wrong? Why are you guys so serious? What happened to my mom? Xixin quickly went up and hugged his mother. Mom is fine, she just fainted. Oh, that's good, that's good. Did you guys see my wife? I came back from buying food and she was gone. Jixin had a harmless look on his face as he tried to look for Bella. Qin-Chu and Suyu looked at each other. Then Suyu coughed lightly and said to Qin-Chu, "Why don't you tell me about this? I don't even know how to start." "What's wrong? Brother-in-law. What happened? Don't hide it from me. Did something happen to my wife?" Jixin saw that there was something wrong with their expressions and was scared out of his wits. Therefore Qin-Chu briefly explained what had happened to Huomian. Jixin was dumbfounded. "Brother-in-law, you mean my wife isn't my wife? No, Bella isn't real. Yes, she's the third dream creator. She's from the Doomsday Reaper." "Who is the Doomsday Reaper?" Jixin was confused. "You don't have to worry about that for now. You just need to know that after we kill the fourth dream creator we will leave the dream," Qin-Chu said. Wait a minute. Brother-in-law. Then can I think of it this way? We entered the dream but my wife didn't. So, everything that happened in the dream wasn't real. Dad's return wasn't real, my sister's miscarriage wasn't real, including the twins and my nieces. So, my wife Bella is still alive in the real world. She didn't become a vegetable and is still alive, right? This time your brain finally works faster. Without waiting for Qin-Chu to speak, Suyu nodded. Well, it's great. My wife is fine. Jixin was overjoyed to hear that Bella didn't enter the dream. Ever since Bella fell into a coma, Jixin had cried countless times in private. Now that he thought about it, he realized that it was all just a dream. He immediately felt much more relaxed. The current situation meant that Bella herself had not entered the dream. She was the only one who had escaped with the twins. Brother-in-law. Does this mean that my wife is lucky? Together with Pudding and Little Bean, the three of them are the only ones who didn't encounter the nightmare? After Jixin heard Suyu's praise, he continued to think quickly and analyzed the situation. Yes, that's right. Suyu felt that Jixin was smart and nodded. Unexpectedly, Qin-Chu shook his head. No, Jixin is wrong. It's not three. But if it's not three, then who else didn't enter the dream? Jixin looked at his brother-in-law curiously. Suyu also remembered and said in realization, it's the fourth dream creator. Who is he pretending to be? Then, this person's real self didn't enter the dream. Chapter 4507. Oh, right. How could I forget the most important thing? Jixin slapped his thigh. Let's not waste time here. The third dream creator also said that we don't have much time left. We have to rush back as soon as possible and find out the whereabouts of the fourth dream creator. Then we have to leave this place quickly, Qin-Chu suggested. No problem, I'll take you back now. Suyu touched the prayer beads around his neck. He was very grateful to Master Wu for giving him this magical thing. With it he didn't even have to drive. Jixin, don't talk nonsense when you get back. Don't tell anyone what I told you today. Qin-Chu looked at Jixin and reminded him. Why, brother-in-law? Because you don't know which one of those people is the fourth dream creator. We can't alert them. Qin-Chu could rule out Jixin because it was impossible for two dream creators to be together. Also, the third dream creator said that the dream creator was among those people. Therefore Yang Meirong and Jixin could be eliminated. Only Huamin, Gao Ran, Zhu Lingling, Jiang Shaowei, Wei Liao, Tang Chuan, Qin Ning, the professor, Qiao Fei, Lu Yan and the twins were left in South Hill Manor. Among these 12 people, Huamin and the professor could be eliminated. Huamin was personally confirmed by Suyu and Qin-Chu, and the professor was the main target this time, so he couldn't be fake. This was because those people had set up such a huge trap for the red demon in the professor's hands. Therefore, other than Huamin and her father, the professor, there were still 10 people left who were suspects. However, it was still very difficult to choose 1 out of 10. Okay, brother-in-law, I understand. I won't say anything. I don't have the ability to help you guys. After I go back, I'll be in charge of taking care of my mother and sister. Jixin knew himself very well. In order not to cause trouble for Qin-Chu and the others, he took the initiative to apply for a logistics job. Qin-Chu nodded and gave Suyu a look. Suyu spun the prayer beads, and the 4 of them instantly returned to South Hill Manor. Wow, you're so fast. I thought you guys would take a while. Zhu Lingling happened to be at the door and saw them come back. Have you finished eating? Fu asked. Not yet. Everyone is eating hot food. Let's go in. I'll get more dishes. Zhu Lingling ran happily to the kitchen. Huamin glanced at Qinchu and Suyu in the crowd. From their gazes she confirmed that the third dream creator was dead. The fourth one is definitely very good at disguising himself. Let's be careful. Qinchu whispered in Suyu's ear. All right. Sis, our mother isn't feeling well. I'll help her upstairs to rest. You guys eat first. Don't wait for me. Jixin found an excuse and took his mother upstairs. Mom, what's wrong? I'll go upstairs and take a look. Huamin was worried, so he turned around and followed them upstairs. Qinchu and Suyu found an empty seat and sat down. Suyu followed his and Qinchu's plan and cleared his throat. The third dream creator is dead. After saying this, Qinchu glanced at everyone's faces in the blink of an eye. He observed everyone's expressions. Other than Zhu Lingling, who was washing vegetables in the kitchen, he looked at everyone else. However, he didn't find any subtle expressions on everyone's faces that indicated that their accomplice had died. Qinchu's gaze fell on the kitchen door again. At this moment, Zhu Lingling walked out with the dishes. Suyu continued, Qinchu and I didn't expect the third dream creator to be Bella. What? The third dream creator is Bella? Zhu Lingling's reaction was so big that she almost dropped the dishes on her plate. Chapter 4508. Suyu nodded. Yes, it's Bella. But, isn't she in a vegetative state? Zhu Lingling was surprised. Qinchu explained, it's because of this that we ignored her. Qiyu and I thought Jixin was. Then we almost fell into her trap. Luckily we came in time. Now that she's dead, does that mean we're getting closer to success? Qinning asked. Qinchu nodded. Yes, as long as we kill the fourth dream creator. Where's the fourth one? Let's go find him. Tang Chuan was also an impatient person. He put his arm around Qinning's shoulder and suggested. Suyu glanced at Qinchu, not knowing how to answer. Qinchu picked up his glass and took a sip of water gracefully. Then he looked around at everyone, including Zhu Lingling, who had just sat down. There's no need to look for him because the fourth dream creator is among us. After Qinchu said this, the entire place went into an uproar. Suyu was also slightly stunned. He knew that Qinchu had never played by the rules, so it was really hard to figure out why he said it so bluntly. Although he still couldn't tell who was the most suspicious. However, he was sure that Huamin, Jixin and Auntie Yang upstairs could be ruled out. Suyu, Qinchu and the professor downstairs were also out of suspicion. They were safe. The only ones left were Gao Ran, Lingling, Xiaowei, Wei Liao, Tang Chuan, Qinning, Lu Yen, Qiao Fei, Rick and Cici. And had been with Suyu all this time, so he was definitely harmless. At this moment, Suyu was really glad that An was with him. Otherwise, it would be awkward if everyone else formed a couple while he was the only one who was alone. Brother, is what you said true? How could it be among us? Qinning looked at Qinchu in shock and disbelief. The fourth dream creator is indeed among us. This was what the third dream creator said before he died, Qinchu explained. Qinchu, you're too decisive. How can we believe the words of the third dream creator? Maybe she's deliberately misleading us, sowing discord and making us fight among ourselves. Zhu Lingling's voice was loud, so everyone heard her clearly. Qinchu glanced at Rick. Rick was one of Qinchu's best friends. Qinchu knew Rick's personality better than anyone else. Ever since they moved in together, Qinchu hadn't talked much with Rick. Of course, it was not because he did not believe Rick, but because he did not know how to tell Rick that his child with Cici was also an illusion. In the real world, Cici's due date was not here yet. She was only a few days away from Huamin. Since Qinchu said so, there must be a reason. I believe him. Rick, who had been silent all this while, spoke. Cici sat beside Rick with the baby in her arms, not saying a word. He believed in Qinchu unconditionally. At the same time, Qinchu also believed in Rick. However, Qinchu couldn't tell Suyu that because he was close to Rick, he didn't suspect him. Therefore, Rick was still on the list of suspects like everyone else. However, Qinchu had already eliminated Rick from the list. Does that mean that everyone here is a suspect? Jiang Xiaowei looked at Suyu and then at Qinchu. Daddy, are the two of us also under suspicion? Little Bean looked at her daddy with grievance. Chapter 4509. Suyu nodded. That's right, you two too. But don't be sad. We found the fourth dream creator so that everyone can escape from this godforsaken place, so don't panic. If anyone should panic, it should be the fourth dream creator. After all, its identity is about to be exposed. Chinchu didn't answer, but Suyu answered first. Perhaps he understood how Chinchu as a father couldn't face his child. Even though he knew that the twins weren't real and could be made up, they could also be dream creators. What about Mion? Jiang Xiaowei asked. Mion has been ruled out. Chinchu and I have already confirmed it. When we were fighting the third dream creator, Auntie Yang and Jixin were also ruled out. So we have temporarily isolated the three of them. So you're saying that we're eating this hot pot just to find the fourth dream creator? After Jiang Xiaowei said this, everyone understood what Chinchu and Siyu meant. Brother-in-law, just tell us now. How many of them have been ruled out? After we pick out those who have been ruled out, the rest will stand in a row and we'll think of a way to confirm it. Tang Chuan was impatient. When he heard that the dream creator was among them, he couldn't eat anymore. He was no longer in the mood to eat hot pot. Suyu looked at Chinchu. Then he took the initiative to speak. Among the people sitting here, only the professor can be ruled out. As for the reason, I'll explain it to everyone. The final confrontation between the four dream creators is a mysterious treasure called the Red Demon in the professor's hands. Although we don't know what it is and I don't want to know what it is, it must be very important. But this thing must be very important. Otherwise, they wouldn't have spent so much effort to weave such a big nightmare. So the professor must be real. Uncle Lu, please come out. After Suyu finished speaking, everyone looked at the professor. The professor stood up slightly, with no expression on his face. Chinchu added, when we killed the first dream creator, the woman who looked like Dr. Linya, my dad was a key figure. So based on this point, we can rule him out. The professor slowly walked out and separated himself from everyone. Lu Yen teased him with a smile. Dad? Kid? You're respected everywhere you go. Even if you're playing the guessing game, you're the first to escape. Alright Yen, stop fooling around. We're getting down to business, Qiao Fei reminded Lu Yen seriously. Now was not the time to joke. Brother, how should we confirm it? Qin Ning could not help but ask. Yeah, say something. Hurry up. Find it so we can continue eating hot pot, Tang Chuan said. Wei Liao chuckled. You're so careless. You're still thinking about eating hot pot at a time like this. If the identity of the fourth dream creator is exposed, it'll probably be another life and death battle. On the bright side, if we work together to kill the dream creator, we'll all leave this lousy place and return to the real world. We can eat whatever we want. No. You don't understand. I like the feeling of eating hot pot in my dreams. Tang Chuan was amused. Then you're really a bastard. Wei Liao mocked Tang Chuan with a smile. Qin Chu looked around at everyone and said again, there is indeed a way. Ziyu, Mion and I all agree. It's said that dream creators have low body temperatures, so their hands and feet are cold. So please reach out your hands. I'll get Suyu to touch them one by one, to check the temperature of your palms. Chapter 45:10. Well, what's the meaning of this? Are you asking us to take her temperature? Tang Chuan teased. No need. Everyone reach out your hands and we'll check, Siyu said. That's a good idea, hee. Come on, touch mine first. Gao Ran smiled and was the first to reach out his hand. Suyu glanced at Qin Chu, then took the initiative to touch Gao Ran's palm. It was the original temperature of a human body. Handsome Su, I want it too. Pudding raised her hand for Suyu to check. Suyu glanced at Pudding and walked towards her. Qin Chu, on the other hand, scanned everyone's micro-expressions, trying to find any useful information. But at that moment, the scene suddenly changed. The dining room at South Hill Manor suddenly turned into a dilapidated ship. Then, it floated on the surface of the sea in the middle of the night. The scary thing was that it was stormy weather. Everyone was swaying on the ship, and the situation was very dangerous. At this moment, Huamin, Jixin and Yang Mirong were nowhere to be seen. Qin Chu's first reaction was that the dream creator in the dining room had secretly tampered with it. Huamin and the others weren't in the dining room, so they weren't pulled into the illusion she created. What's going on? Where's my hot pot? Tang Chuan was dumbfounded. He didn't forget to hug Qin Ning tightly, afraid that something would happen to his delicate wife. Wei Liao and Gao Ran were also hugging their children tightly. Qin Chu glanced at the twins. They were hugging each other and squatting in a corner. Chu, what should we do now? Suyu rushed up and grabbed Chu's shoulder. The dream creator must not want us to use our body temperature to determine its true identity. That's why they came up with this plan. Where did you check just now? Chu asked Suyu. It's Pudding's turn, Suyu said. Chu glanced at Pudding in the corner with a complicated expression. He really didn't want to suspect his daughter, but coincidentally when it was time to check on Pudding, the dream creator secretly made a move. Because the movements were too fast, he didn't see clearly who was the one who formed the seal. Are you suspecting Pudding? Suyu looked into Chu's eyes and guessed in a low voice. What about you? Chu asked Suyu. I suspect Zhu Lingling. Her reaction just now was obviously bigger than the others. He said. Chu lowered his voice and whispered into Suyu's ear. After learning my lesson from Bella and Jixin, I feel that although Zhu Lingling looks the most suspicious on the surface, the dream creator must have secretly done something to mislead us into thinking that it was Zhu Lingling. What you mean is... Suyu was confused. What I mean is, let's play a big game this time. Suyu, who do you think performed the best among these people? Who doesn't look like a dream creator? Suyu was about to speak. However, he heard the professor's old voice. Chapter 45:11. Just as everyone was about to say something, they suddenly heard banging sounds from below the boat. Then Chu followed the sound and found a hidden wooden door. He squatted down and lifted the wooden door. Everyone was stunned by the scene below. Lu Yan fired 2 shots at Xiao Fei with her pistol. Suyu was about to jump down and attack Lu Yan. After all, he thought Lu Yan was a dream creator. However, Chu stopped him. Go, she's the 4th dream creator. Suyu was afraid that Chu didn't understand, so he explained anxiously. Suyu, look. She pointed at the blood behind Xiao Fei. Chu pointed at Suyu. It was the red liquid that would only appear after a dream creator died. Suyu was stunned, speechless. He didn't expect this. So Xiao Fei was the dream creator? The dream creator was severely injured, so the illusion slowly disappeared. Therefore, everyone instantly returned to the dining room of South Hill Manor from the boat. Xiao Fei lay on the ground, his face pale. He looked up at Lu Yan, but his voice was different. When did you find out? Lu Yan looked up and sighed slightly. About 24 hours ago. Then why did you only do it now? He asked. You look like the man I love the most, so I really couldn't bear to do it. This is also why you're so smart. Lu Yan said. Did I make any mistakes? Actually, he was already very careful around Lu Yan. After all, he knew that Lu Yan was very smart. However, he didn't expect that he would accidentally expose his flaws. Otherwise, he would have secretly formed a seal and created a tsunami in his dream. However, before he could form the seal, Lu Yan stabbed him in the back. Then Lu Yan shot him 2 more times from the secret chamber on the boat. Lu Yan's expression was complicated. Perhaps no one knew how she felt when she shot the man she loved. Of course, her rationality told her that this person wasn't Xiao Fei. It was just a dream creator with the same face as Xiao Fei. She also knew that if she didn't act ruthlessly, everyone would die. My Xiao Fei is a famous little heater. I often hug him to sleep, so I'm very familiar with his body temperature. Although my Xiao Fei is amazing, he's definitely not a magician. When you proposed those roses, I asked you where you got them. Do you remember how you answered? Lu Yan looked at the last dream creator calmly. I said I borrowed it from my sister's house. He answered. Lu Yan smiled. Maybe you don't know, but my sister doesn't raise roses because there are too many thorns. She doesn't want to hurt Pudding and Little Bean. So at that time I thought, what kind of person can make roses out of a house that doesn't have roses? Perhaps only dream creators can do this? Then why didn't you expose me then? Because I wasn't sure. I was afraid that I would wrongly accuse you. After all, in the dream, if you killed the real person, you would be completely dead. I didn't want to kill the man I loved the most because of my thoughts. Lu Yan is indeed very smart. Haha, serves you right for not being wiped out. Such a group of people, it's not a waste for our boss to weave a nightmare for you. The man slowly revealed his true face, and his face that looked exactly like Xiao Fei's faded. It turned out that this was also a good-looking man. He looked young, but no one knew him. He should be from Doomsday Reaper, Chu said. Brother-in-law, the 4th dream creator is dead. Should we go back to the real world? Lu Yen turned around and asked Qin Chu. At this moment, before Qin Chu could reply, the ground began to shake as if there was a magnitude 8 earthquake. Everyone was dizzy from the shaking. Qin Chu subconsciously looked at Suyu, to look for Suyu. Chapter 45:12. With the death of the fourth dream creator, the dream world began to collapse. Some people said that the fourth dream creator died too easily, but that was not the case. Lu Yen had suspected him for a long time and had been observing him for the past few days. If Lu Yen hadn't acted quickly, he would have killed everyone by the time Qin Chu and Suyu discovered his true identity. Therefore it wasn't easy. It could only be said that Lu Yen was too powerful. The fourth dream creator took his last breath and the dream world began to collapse. To dream creators, they were the ones manipulating others. Perhaps in their lives, no one had been able to escape from the nightmare so quickly. Of course, all of this was thanks to Suyu. He was the one who brought such important news after entering the dream for the second time. Huamin, Jixin, and their mother rushed over to reunite with everyone. At this moment, Qin Chu discovered a serious problem. Everyone's bodies began to disappear, starting from the soles of their feet, and then to their calves. However, Suyu still did not react at all. Why are you different from us? Wei Liao was next to Suyu. When he noticed something, he shouted at Suyu. Suyu didn't say anything and just licked his lips. Lord Su, say something. What's going on? Tang Chuan also had a bad feeling. Although he couldn't put his finger on it, he felt that something was wrong with Suyu. Huamin and Qin Chu looked at Suyu. Huamin wanted to run over to Suyu and grab his collar. Then he asked, Suyu, what's wrong with you? What trick are you playing now? However, just as Huamin was about to leave, he realized that his legs had disappeared. Everyone was disappearing. This was a sign that they were about to leave this place. No one was afraid. But why was Suyu different from everyone else? Boss, what's wrong with you? Why are you different from us? Say something, and kept shaking Suyu's arm desperately. But he refused to say a single word. He looked around and scanned the familiar faces one by one. Finally, he smiled and said, in this life I, Suyu, have known everyone. I'm already satisfied. What do you mean by that? Do you speak clearly? What the fuck do you mean? Huamin would never swear. He would only swear when he lost his rationality. At this moment, in front of so many people, Huamin couldn't suppress the fear in his heart and cursed at Suyu. Suyu looked at Huamin and opened his mouth wanting to say something. However, he didn't say it out loud. Then he looked at Qin Chu and said, take good care of this silly woman and give birth to Qin Guokua. At this moment, everyone had disappeared. Huamin wanted to say something, but his vision went black. He completely lost consciousness. She vaguely remembered the last time she saw Suyu before leaving the incubus. Just like that, Suyu stood a little far away from everyone. He was wearing his favorite white Versace short-sleeved shirt and coffee-colored casual pants. He was like a lonely teenager. In his eyes there was reluctance, tears, and many things that he didn't say. In the end, Qin Chu didn't ask Suyu because he knew that Suyu had been hiding something from them. In the past, if Suyu didn't say anything, he wouldn't have known. Now he didn't need Suyu to tell him. He had already guessed it. The dream creator was dead, the incubus was broken, and everyone went back, but Suyu stayed. Chapter 45:13. When Huamin woke up again, she saw the familiar ceiling. She slowly opened her eyes and reached out to block her vision, afraid that the strong light would hurt her. Mian, you're awake. It seemed that Qin Chu had woken up before her. Huamin seemed to have thought of something and suddenly stood up. Honey, where's Suyu? Where's Suyu? Qin Chu didn't say anything. Honey, I'm asking you. Say something. Where's Suyu? Ask him to come see me. Me. Calm down and listen to me. I don't want to listen to you. I just want to see Suyu now. Go and ask him to come here. I want to see him right now. Huamin rarely lost her mind like this. She covered her head with her hands and shook her messy long hair. She refused to listen to anything Qin Chu said to her. No matter what Qin Chu said, she only repeated one sentence. I want to see Suyu. I want Suyu to come see me immediately. In the end, Qin Chu decided to tell her the truth. Mian, Suyu didn't come back. Huamin's body trembled. Where did he go? He didn't come back? Did he travel abroad? Or was he afraid that I'd scold him so he went into hiding? Or did he go to a meeting with Lord Su? Did he go to the army to see his old comrade? Mion, you know very well. Don't lie to yourself. Suyu is in the dream. He didn't come back with us. I don't believe it. I'm going to find Suyu now. Huamin turned over and almost fell to the ground because of her trembling legs. Fortunately, Qin was quick to react and supported Huamin. To be precise, it was Huamin with a big belly. They had finally returned to the real world to the correct time. Huamin hadn't given birth yet because she wasn't due yet. In the butler's eyes, they had only slept for one night after coming back. Honey, please take me to Suyu. I'm begging you. Huamin closed his eyes as tears streamed down his cheeks. Don't cry, Mian. I'll take you to see him. Qin wiped away Huamin's tears with heartache and then carefully carried her downstairs. Then he placed it on the passenger seat of the black Bentley. Then the couple went to Suyu's private villa. Everyone returned to the starting point except for Yang Mirong, who was still feeling unwell. Everyone woke up and immediately rushed to Suyu's house. When Qin and Huamin arrived, everyone had already arrived. Other than the people who returned from the dream, there were two more people at Suyu's house. One was Suyu's mother, Auntie Su. The other was Suyu's master, Master Wu. However, no one was familiar with Master Wu. It was only when Suyu's mother introduced him that everyone knew about him. Mian is here, Jiang Shaowei said when she saw Huamin and Qin. Everyone's eyes immediately turned to look at them. Where's Suyu? Huamin had nothing on his mind except for finding Suyu. Jiang Shaowei didn't say anything. She pointed at the man lying on the bed in Anne's bedroom. After Shaoan woke up, he found himself lying side by side on the same bed as his boss. He wanted to shake him awake, but Master Wu stopped him. Huamin broke free from Qin arms and quickly walked to the bed. Then she looked at the man lying on the bed who hadn't woken up. He felt like dying. See? Stop fooling around me. This joke isn't funny. We're all worried about you. We agreed to come back together. Wake up, don't stay in bed. Huamin sat on Suyu's bed with a gentleness she had never shown before. Then she reached out and gently tapped Suyu's forehead with her finger. It was like a little girl naughtily waking up her boyfriend. However, Suyu still didn't react. Chapter 45:14. Seeing Huamian's reaction, everyone felt like crying again. Lady Su picked up her handkerchief, covered her nose and started crying again, even though she had cried countless times in the past few days. With Huamin crying, no one could hold it in anymore. Tang Chuan was a man. In the past he always felt that crying was too embarrassing, but now he couldn't care less. Wei Liao was more reserved, but he turned his head and wiped his tears silently. You're Suyu's master, Master Wu, right? Qin was still rational. He endured the pain and walked over to Master Wu. Master Wu nodded. His face was also haggard. Master Wu, I've heard Suyu mention you many times in my dreams. Can you tell me why Suyu hasn't woken up? When will he wake up? Master Wu glanced at Qin and then at Huamin. Then he slowly said, Suyu came back by accident for the first time and realized that something was wrong. Then he found me through a friend. I had some fate with this kid, so I helped him solve a lot of problems and told him about the incubus. Later, when he heard that you guys were in danger inside, he begged me to enter the dream a second time. The two of us found the hypnotist who lured you guys into the dream, and sent him back. Only when he returns to the dream can he tell you guys that you're dreaming and have a chance of escaping. I thought that 4 dream creators would be enough for you guys to deal with, but I didn't expect you guys to be so capable and come out so quickly. What price will Suyu pay for entering the dream a second time? Qin saw that Master Wu didn't get to the point even after saying so much, so he hit the nail on the head. Master Wu was silent for a moment. Then he looked around at everyone's faces and continued, those who enter the dream a second time will be trapped in the dream forever. After Master Wu said this, everyone broke down. Shaoan's cries went from a low whimper to a heartbroken one. Tang Chuan was so agitated that he kicked over a wooden coffee table in the room. His leg was bruised. Qin Ning squatted down and hurriedly looked for the first aid kit to wipe the alcohol off Tang Chuan's face. Wei Liao also sucked in a breath of cold air. His entire body felt unwell. Jiang Shaowei held her husband's hand tightly. She wanted to comfort him, but she didn't know what to say. The professor and Lu Yen were calmer than the others. After all, they didn't have a deep relationship with Suyu. However, they knew that Suyu was doing this for everyone. Thus their hearts were very heavy. Min had the biggest reaction. After hearing this, she turned around and grabbed Suyu's collar. Suyu, you liar. I asked you in my dream, but you didn't say anything. Didn't you say you were fine? Why can't you come back? Tell me, why did you lie to me? You big liar, I'll never forgive you again. I'll never be good friends with you again. This was the first time Min was so hysterical. Qin Chu rushed forward and hugged Min tightly. Master Wu also tried to persuade him, you'd better not touch Suyu. If he moves away now, he might disappear in the dream. Min instantly stopped. Then his eyes widened as he sat on the ground dejectedly. Master Wu, is there really no other way? You're an expert, please help us. Qin Chu looked at Master Wu and placed his last hope on him. Master Wu, how are we going to deal with him now? Lu Yen had been keeping a cool head. Su Yu's soul seemed to be trapped in the dream and couldn't come back. Only a body was still in the real world, as if it was asleep. To put it nicely, he was asleep. To put it bluntly, he was in a vegetative state. Master Wu glanced at the sleeping Su Yu and felt extremely depressed. He might always be in a deep sleep like this, never aging or dying, but he'll never wake up. Should we send him to the hospital? Give him a nutrient drip or something? Lu Yen said. No, he doesn't need anything. He just needs to lie here quietly. What if Su Yu's body is in the real world? What would happen if he died in the dream? Lu Yen asked. Master Wu looked at Lu Yen with a complicated expression. Laughing on a sunny day, making noise in the free air. Do you know that the only thing I want, the world is still small. I'll accompany you to the ends of the earth in a corner without worries. Stop searching, slowly grow old in a carefree time. Do you know that my heart is beating with you? This was the love song that Su Yu sang to Min at the anniversary celebration in front of so many people. This was the first time he had sung a love song in his life. Even now he still liked it very much. If God gave him a chance to take care of Neon just once. Chapter 45-17. Suyu, at South Hill Manor. Min suddenly woke up in the middle of the night and called out Suyu's name. Honey, did you have a nightmare? Qin Chu quickly got up and hugged Min in his arms. Then he kept comforting her. He patted her back gently as if he was coaxing a child. Honey, I heard Suyu sing. Hearing Suyu's name, Qin Chu's eyes dimmed. Suyu's actions weren't approved by everyone, but Qin Chu understood him. If it were Qin Chu, he would have made the same choice as Suyu. Suyu was probably Qin Chu's most respected opponent and most special friend in his life. They fought side by side 4 times in the dream. They worked together to kill 4 dream creators. All of this was thanks to Suyu. However, when everything was done and everyone had left safely, the situation had changed. Suyu, on the other hand, was left there forever. As for them, there was nothing they could do. No one could do anything for Suyu. They couldn't even speak to Suyu anymore. Min had been in a daze recently. It had been almost a week since they returned to the real world. Everyone had accepted this cruel fact. Lu Yen and the professor had left. Lu Yen went to look for Qiao Fei. The professor returned to the headquarters to investigate the mastermind behind this incident. Gao Ran went back to work and Zhu Lingling took the children to school. Jiang Xiaowei resigned from her position at the city bureau and opened her own psychological clinic. Wei Liao's father officially retired, and the Wei family was officially taken over by Wei Liao. Tang Chuan, on the other hand, drank himself to death every day and didn't do his job. Qin Ning returned to work at GK and helped Qin Chu manage the company's business. Bella didn't become a vegetable. She was still working well. Xixin was taking care of his sickly mother at Sky Blessing Court. Rick went back to the United States to deal with the family business, while Cece stayed in the city to wait for delivery. The twins were picked up by Qin Chu from the Su family. At first, Pudding and Little Bean also cried sadly. Later they gradually accepted the truth. Little Bean didn't like to eat as much anymore. He started thinking about losing weight. Pudding, on the other hand, was even quieter than before. In Su Yu's villa, Su Yu's body fell into a deep sleep. Shaoan wholeheartedly took care of his master. Master Wu didn't leave either and stayed in Su Yu's villa. Lady Su would make all kinds of delicious food and send it to her son every day. Then she would chat with him for a while. Lord Su hadn't returned from the military region yet, so he didn't know about this yet. She heard that Mr. Su was seriously ill. His heart wasn't in good condition, so he went to America for surgery. The Su family used to be fine, but now they were homeless and miserable. Everyone had accepted the truth and was immersed in sorrow. Huamin's mental state became very bad. She started to be paranoid. Qin Chu had no choice but to take care of her carefully. After all, her due date was coming soon. Who knew when the child would be born? He still remembered what Suyu said to Qin Chu before he left the incubus. Take good care of this silly woman and give birth to Qin Guogua. Qin Chu recalled Suyu's expression and tone back then. He felt heartbroken. Don't be too nervous. Relax. Qin Chu hugged her. Hubby, I'm not lying to you. Really, I think I heard Suyu sing. He sings very well, doesn't he? Every time he sings a love song he pretends to be very affectionate. When he comes back I'll definitely drag him to the KTV and sing a few songs for me. Qin Chu didn't say anything. After a while Huamin reached out and shook Qin Chu's index finger. Then she lowered her voice and asked, Hubby? Yeah. So you will come back, right? Huamin asked softly. Chapter 45:18. Faced with Huamin's question, Qin Chu could only remain silent because he didn't know how to answer. Honey, you said that when I give birth, so you will definitely come back, right? He's so rich and he still wants to give me a big gift. I want to take the opportunity to scam him. Qin Chu remained silent. Hubby, are you jealous? Are you afraid that I'll treat Suyu too well and neglect you? Mion, it's late. Go to bed early. Qin Chu hugged Huamin tightly in his arms and didn't give her a chance to speak. He covered her with the blanket. After another 10 minutes, the bedroom was silent. Then Qin Chu heard a soft sob. Huamin was crying. She knew that what she said was unrealistic and was lying to herself. Qin Chu's heart ached, but he knew that with Huamin's IQ she didn't need to be comforted. She could only slowly walk out of this sadness on her own, at Suyu's private mansion. Boss, it's time to wash your face, in the morning, and walked over with a basin of water. Then after wetting the towel he carefully wiped Suyu's face. 3 days after returning to the real world. Soon Suyu's personal lawyer arrived. Before Suyu entered the dream for the second time he made a will plan. The company was handed over to Wei Liao and Tang Chuan, who each had half of the shares. However, Wei Liao was in charge of it for the time being. This was because Tang Chuan was not interested in business and drank all day long. Then he gave his parents and grandfather his stocks and savings, including a Swiss bank account. So you still had 300 million jeans. He gave them to Huamin's 3 children. Pudding, Little Bean, and the unborn baby in her stomach. Each of them received 100 million yuan. From the moment the child was born, they would receive money every year until the child was 100 years old. Suyu's car and private villa were given to In. He even gave In some shares of Imperial Star Group. Because Shaoan didn't know how to do business, Suyu planned to give him a bonus every year for his sake. Suyu's private villa and the dozens of luxury cars in the garage were also extremely expensive, and had followed Suyu for many years. In the end, Suyu only hoped that he could get married, have children, and live a good life. However, when the lawyer asked Shaoan to transfer the ownership, he was rejected. He was very emotional at that time and chased the lawyer away. He even scolded loudly, "What do you mean by transferring? My boss is not dead. He will wake up." And didn't want money, a villa, or a car. He just wanted to stay here quietly and wait for his boss to come back. Master Wu also stayed behind. Every day he and would guard Suyu. Although he didn't know what else he could do, he didn't know. At that moment the doorbell rang. "Someone's here," Master Wu said. "I'll open the door. Master Wu, you can go to the dining room. We'll be able to eat soon." And put down the towel in a low mood and wiped his hands. Then he walked to the door and opened it. Seeing who it was, and was stunned for a moment. Then his emotions became complicated again. Han Yueyao was back. Han Yueyao had gone overseas to film with the production team for a long time. She didn't know what had happened during this time. However, when she came back from filming, she heard that something had happened to her boss. She didn't even put on makeup. She wore a mask and came to Suyu's house with her hair disheveled. "And where's President Su?" "In the room." And pointed. Let me see. Han Yueyao rushed in impatiently and rushed into the room. When she saw the sleeping Suyu, her heart almost broke. What the fuck is going on? I just went out to film. Why did the boss become like this? Han Yueyao stood in front of Suyu's bed and started crying. Chapter 45:19. Miss Han, don't cry yet. I'm not done wiping the boss's face yet. Can you cry later? And could understand Han Yueyao's feelings, but seeing her cry so loudly, he reminded her slightly. Upon hearing that he was going to wipe Suyu's face, Han Yueyao immediately volunteered. I'll do it. Give me the towel. Give it to me. Don't dawdle. I'm a woman after all. I'm more meticulous than you. All right, then I'll have to trouble you. And couldn't persuade Han Yueyao and could only give her the towel. Han Yueyao sat in front of Suyu's bed and carefully wet the towel. Then she gently wiped Suyu's cheeks. Then she did it with his hands. After wiping his face, Han Yueyao took out a nail clipper from her bag. She began to trim Suyu's nails. Seeing how much Han Yueyao cared about Suyu, and was filled with emotions. So many things had happened in the dream and Miss Han had confessed to the boss? Unfortunately, that was all in the dream. Miss Han, do you like the boss? And blurted out. Han Yueyao's back stiffened. Then without looking back she said, yeah, maybe the whole world knows that I like Suyu. Only he doesn't know. No, the boss knows. He knows. Han Yueyao was stunned. She turned around and looked at him curiously. Yeah, boss knows how you feel about him. In the nightmare we experienced a lot. There was a fictional version of you, but you looked exactly like the real you. That version of you confessed to boss in the dream and a lot of things happened. She had vaguely heard about Suyu and the others entering the nightmare. Hearing Anne's words, Han Yueyao had mixed feelings. Really? Then in my dream did I take down Suyu and sleep with him? Han Yueyao pursed her lips and asked. Not really, but you and the boss are already very very good friends. The boss treats you very well. This time the boss even told Mr. Wei and the others that after they take over the company, they have to spare no effort to support you and make you the most popular celebrity. Who cares if I'm popular or not? I don't care. Back then I only did this to earn money so that my parents could live a better life. Then she put down Suyu's hand with tears in her eyes. When is this guy going to wake up? Seriously, he's such a good sleeper. And remained silent. Shaoan, I want to drink some wine. Do you have it at home? Yes, but it's so early in the morning. Won't drinking hurt your spleen and stomach? If I want to drink, I'll drink. Who cares so much? Then she wiped her tears and turned to leave. After packing up and hurried to the dining room with Han Yueyao. Han Yueyao had never seen Master Wu before, so she glanced at him. Ah, this is my boss's master, Master Wu. Han Yueyao nodded slightly in greeting. This is my boss's employee, and introduced awkwardly. Master Wu didn't say anything. And took out a bottle of red wine and placed it in front of Han Yueyao. I don't want red wine. I want white wine, Han Yueyao said. And sweated and returned the red wine to the wine cabinet. He took out a bottle of Maotai. Give me a bottle too, Master Wu said. What day is it today? Why are you drinking white wine so early in the morning? Is that okay? And said as he placed the white wine on the table. I want to give birth to Suyu's child, Han Yueyao suddenly said as she held the white wine bottle. Master Wu and An were stunned. Then they both looked at Han Yueyao. Even if they didn't enter the Su family, they would be able to live a carefree life because of their children. However, it was said that Suyu's baby was in the military hospital and was heavily protected. Without the permission of Suyu and the Su family, no one could enter. Therefore, Han Yueyao's impromptu idea had to depend on the Su family's decision. Miss Han, we all know that you're good to my boss. But I don't think we can make the decision on such a big matter. You'd better discuss it with Auntie. Besides, you're an unmarried girl. If you do such a thing, what will happen to you in the future? Do you still want to get married? Chapter 45:21. I'll talk to Auntie Su. Han Yueyao glanced at An and said firmly. It was as if she had already made up her mind about this matter. Let's eat. Everyone must be hungry. Let's see if my food is to your liking. and picked up some food for Master Wu and Han Yueyao. Han Yueyao didn't move her chopsticks. Instead, she downed the white wine in her glass. Then she stood up. I can't eat anymore. I'll leave first. I'll come and see Suyu again. With that, Han Yueyao left without looking back, afraid that others would see the tears in her eyes. This girl is pretty good, Master Wu commented after Han Yueyao left, and sighed as he poured wine for Master Wu. Yeah, I think Miss Han is a good person too. But it can't be helped. It doesn't matter who says she's good. My boss doesn't like her. Is it because of that female doctor? Master Wu asked in a hem. You know everything. So you told me. Huh. My boss told you about Dr. Hua? Yeah, he told me a little. I saw that kid yesterday. I can tell that he's a good person. Master Wu recalled Huamin. At the mention of Huamin, and let out another long sigh. Of course, Dr. Hua has nothing to say. Anyone who knows her character will like her. She's a very independent girl with her own personality. She's magnanimous and calm, and she's been really good to my boss these few years. However, no matter how good Dr. Hua is, she has a family and children. She can be friends with my boss, but as for a relationship, there's no chance. That's why it's an ill-fated relationship. Master Wu sighed. He knew that if it weren't for Huamin, Suyu wouldn't have risked his life to enter the dream a second time. Of course, a person's heart was limited. If it contained one person, it wouldn't be able to contain another. Therefore, no matter how good the others were, Suyu couldn't see them. No matter how imperfect Huamin was, she was still Suyu's true love. South Hill Manor. After answering Lu Yan's call, Qin Chu went upstairs to check on Huamin worriedly. After Lu Yan and the professor left, she was worried about Huamin. Lu Yan called from time to time to ask about Huamin. Huamin's situation was very bad. Almost every time she opened her mouth, the two words Suyu would not leave her mouth. Pudding and Little Bean would cry every time their mother mentioned handsome Su. In the end, the three of them hugged each other and cried. As for Qin Chu, the head of the family, as a husband and as a father, he felt even more upset. Qin Chu hung up the phone and went upstairs. When she entered the bedroom, she found that Huamin had already finished washing up. You're up, honey. Qin Chu greeted her gently. Huamin nodded. The weather forecast said that it's getting warmer today. It looks like winter is almost over. So I took out the cashmere coat you bought for me last year. Does it make me look younger? Huamin was wearing a cashmere coat that Qin Chu bought for her when he went to Hong Kong on a business trip. The style was simple but beautiful. The beige color made Huamin look a lot more energetic. If one didn't look at her round belly and only looked at her face, one would think that she was a young and energetic college student. Mian, are you going out? Seeing her dressed like this, Qin Chu knew that she was going out. Yeah. I'm going to Southside today to visit my old colleagues and do a prenatal checkup to check on the baby. I'll go with you. It's okay. You go to work. I can go by myself. No, I'll go with you. Qin Chu insisted on going with her. After all, Suyu's incident was a big blow to Huamin. He was afraid that she would be distracted and have an accident. Honey, can you buy Southside for me? Huamin walked over slowly and wrapped her arms around Qin Chu's neck, acting like a spoiled child. Chapter 45-22. Qin Chu hugged Huamin and was slightly surprised. Why do you want to buy Southside? Because I want to fight for my dignity. Because of Zheng Ro, President Wu and I lost our jobs because of her father. Now that I'm back at Southside, I'm not the deputy director anymore. The baby is unhappy. Seeing Huamin's coquettish tone, Qin Chu smiled deeply. Hey, buy it. If you like it, we'll buy it. Then I want to be the director this time, not the deputy director. Okay, if you like it, I'll buy all the hospitals in Sea City for you. No, I like Southside. Qin Chu would never refuse Huamin's request. It was rare for his beloved wife to take the initiative to ask for something. How could Qin Chu not agree to it? Then, after breakfast, Qin Chu drove Huamin to Southside for a prenatal checkup. The twins were picked up by Tang Chuan and Qin Ning and sent to the Su family's house. This was Qin Chu's idea. He was afraid that Lady Su would be too sad, so the twins didn't go to school for the next few days. Every day they went back and forth between South Hill Manor and the Su family's old mansion. When the twins arrived, Lord Su and Mr. Su happened to be back. After hearing about what happened to Suyu, The old man seemed to have aged a lot overnight. Then he didn't say a word and just smoked. Dad, take care of yourself. Don't smoke so much, Mr. Su advised. I'm already so old. Even if I die now, it's worth it. But my poor Yu, he's only 30 years old. As Lord Su spoke, the whole family cried together. When the twins entered, they saw this sad scene. Little Bean quickly ran over and climbed into Lord Su's arms. She wiped the old man's tears. Great-grandpa, be good. Don't cry. I have durian candy for you. As she spoke, Little Bean took out a piece from her pocket and stuffed it into the old man's mouth. The old man was also unyielding. He had worked hard in the army all his life, and his bones were firm and unyielding. When she saw the two children, she forced herself to hold back her tears. Great-grandpa, I think handsome Su will come back. He won't leave us behind. Look, we love him so much, Little Bean said. Master Lord Su nodded with tears in his eyes. He didn't say anything else, but he felt even worse. Pudding, on the other hand, brought tissues to Mr. and Mrs. Su. Then he didn't say anything and just silently accompanied her. Pudding, did you miss your Uncle Su? Lady Su hugged Pudding and rubbed her face against Pudding's as she asked in a hoarse voice. Yes, I really do. I dream of him almost every night, Pudding said. Good child. Lady Su still wanted to say something, but the moment she opened her mouth, it was filled with tears. Lord Su, Grandma Su, Great-grandpa. We're all sad to see handsome Su like this, but we have to be strong. I'm sure handsome Su doesn't want us to be like this. Pudding is right. You definitely doesn't like us crying, Mr. Su said as he wiped his tears. Our handsome Su will definitely wake up. He's just too tired and is sleeping. We don't have to be so sad. Little Bean's childish voice echoed in the empty living room, but everyone's hearts felt even heavier. Suyu wasn't dead, but if he didn't wake up, it was no different from being dead. He kept giving everyone hope, but he also disappointed them. At this moment, Lady Su thought of something. She looked at Lord Su and said, Dad, about that girl. My dad and I both think it's feasible. What do you think? As long as you agree, we can take it out. No, I don't agree, Lord Su refused immediately. Chapter 45-23. Lady Su looked at her husband. The two of them looked at each other and didn't dare to speak. Master Lord Su continued, I understand how you feel. I also want our Su family to have a descendant, but we can't harm her. She's a pure and innocent girl. She's not our surrogate. Why should she give birth to our family's child? It's fine if he wakes up, but if he doesn't, how is she going to live the rest of her life? Yu's situation is already a tragedy for our Su family. We can't implicate others. Dad, Lady Su wanted to say something. Don't say any more. I don't agree with this. I won't do something that goes against my family just because my grandson is gone. Besides, Yu is gone. What's the use of having a child? As the old saying goes, if the pot is gone, what's the use of buying a pot lid? Master Lord Su's meaning was obvious. Suyu was irreplaceable in his heart. Even if they used IVF to give birth to a child with the Su family's genes, what was the use? Could he replace Suyu? Obviously not. Suyu's position in this family was irreplaceable. After Huamin went to Southside, he talked to some of his old colleagues. Then he did a prenatal checkup and saw that the baby was fine. Qin Chu helped Huamin into the car. Are you hungry? Shall I take you to eat? Huamin shook his head. I've already discussed the acquisition of the hospital. It'll probably take a week. When you give birth, this hospital will be our family's. Are you feeling unwell? Seeing that Huamin wasn't in a good mood, Qin Chu asked carefully. I want to see Suyu. Okay. Faced with Huamin's request, Qin Chu didn't say anything and drove Huamin to Suyu's mansion. As soon as they arrived, Qin Chu received a call from Qin Ning. She said that Tang Chuan was drunk and got into a fight with someone. Qin Chu quickly drove to Tang Chuan's place. After Huamin entered, he took off his jacket. He was only wearing a light green knitted sweater inside. President Hua. And had been Huamin's chauffeur for more than 3 years to protect her. Therefore he was used to calling him President Huamin. Have you guys eaten? Yes, I have. I'm here to see Suyu, Huamian said. Okay, I'll take you there. No need. You do what you need to do. I'll go in and have a look. Then Huamin Su. He had changed into comfortable pajamas. They were white, Suyu's favorite color. Suyu's face was very clean, and washed his face and shaved his beard every morning. There was no trace of sloppiness at all. Hwamin made a small stool and sat down in front of Suyu's bed. Then she glanced at Suyu's dry lips. She took out a cotton swab from her bag. She took out the mineral water she carried with her. She wet the cotton swab and wiped Suyu's lips. As she wiped, she spoke. I went to the hospital for a checkup today. The baby is very healthy and his heartbeat is very strong. Everyone said that he will be a strong young man in the future. It's very close to his due date. He might be out in less than a week. You must be happy for him, right? You said, when I give birth you will prepare a big gift for me. So you have to wake up early. Don't go back on your word, do you hear me? You have to buy a gift and it has to be very, very expensive. I know you're rich so I have to scam you. Hwamin smiled after she finished speaking. However, her words did not receive any response. Suyu was still in a deep sleep. Even his eyelashes did not move. Chapter 45-24. Hwamin smiled and continued, Today I begged my husband to buy Southside for me. Isn't that rich? I want to learn from you. You spend a lot of money. After buying Southside I can continue to be the director. When the time comes, you have to support me. When you wake up, tell all the employees of Imperial Star that they have to go to Southside twice a day. That way I won't have to worry about not having business. Hwamin muttered to himself in Suyu's room, and listened at the door for a while and felt a little uncomfortable. Master Wu, why do I feel like President Hua is crazy? Why is he talking to my boss alone? And walked over and said to Master Wu, What do you know? This is called longing. Master Wu shook his head and looked at him as he said that Hwamian was crazy. This kid was drunk. Alright. I can't understand what you cultured people are saying. I'm going to buy groceries. Today I'm going to make squirrel mandarin fish. It's my boss's favorite. If he wakes up he'll be able to eat delicious fish. And placed his hopes on every day. He even imagined that one day when he woke up, he would see his boss in a bathrobe drinking beer, playing with his phone and watching football in the living room. That would be a very, very big surprise. After and left, Hwamin sat alone in Suyu's room for a while and talked to Suyu for a while. Then he got up. I'm leaving first. You have to wake up early. I'll come and see you in a few days. I'll bring you flowers. Do you like lilies or hyacinths? There was still no response. If you don't say anything that means you like both. I'll buy some of both then. Then Hwamin picked up his bag and left. As soon as he left he saw Master Wu standing at the door. He was smoking a cigarette. Hwamin glanced at Master Wu's cigarette. He immediately put it out. Sorry, I'm addicted to smoking. It's okay. I'm about to give birth so it won't affect me, Hwamin said. Can we talk? All right. Knowing that this person was Suyu's master and that he was a good person who had helped them a lot, Hwamin agreed to Master Wu's request. The two of them walked to the balcony and looked at the scenery of the neighborhood. Master Wu spoke first. I know that the person Suyu can't let go of is actually you. He entered the dream a second time. He said it was for everyone but it was still to save you. Hwamin didn't say anything, but he felt a lump in his throat and wanted to cry. I've finally seen this kid's temper. He's as stubborn as an old bull. Even as his master he wouldn't listen to me. I even told him that he was rich and powerful and didn't need anything. He had finally escaped from the nightmare so he should just live a good life and not go back. But he didn't want to. He even used the fastest way to go back. He didn't even greet his family. He's afraid that his family will be sad, Hwamin said. Master Wu nodded. Chapter 45-25. In the next life can it be you instead? Shed your pride and love me so much that you go crazy. When Hwamin finished reading this sentence, her tears fell like a broken string of beads. It was confirmed that it was Suyu's handwriting. Even the note was crumpled. Such a literary style was not like Suyu's usual tone. But Hwamin knew that he must have written it. Because he knew that after entering the dream for the second time he would never come back. Whether he could save everyone or not, he would never come back. So writing such words under that kind of mood was probably the truest feeling in Suyu's heart. Ever since Chin Chu came back from the United States and reunited with her, Suyu had been suppressing his feelings for Huamin. He didn't dare to let others see it and deliberately kept a distance from her. He even reduced the number of times they met and rarely met alone. It was to avoid arousing suspicion. It wasn't that he was afraid that Qin Chu would be jealous. It was just because Suyu knew that Huamin had a complete family, a man who loved her deeply and her children. And as an intruder he appeared later than Qin Chu. The most important thing was that Huamin only had Qin Chu in her heart from the beginning to the end. Suyu knew that there was no hope in this life. Even if Qin Chu didn't come back from the United States, his proposal wouldn't have succeeded. Because Huamin couldn't change the price. Especially after giving birth to Qin Chu's children, it was even more impossible for her to remarry him. Suyu used to be an atheist. Later, when he saw Huamin occasionally practicing Buddhism, he was more or less influenced. Later, he even believed in the past life and the present life. Buddhism said that people had 3 lives of karma. What they cultivated in the past life they would suffer in this life, and what they cultivated in this life, they would enjoy in the next life. Therefore Suyu wondered if there was really an afterlife. Could he be given a chance to take care of Huamin just once? Just once would be enough. Master Wu did not peek at what was written on the note, but he could roughly guess. After all, Suyu's words were like his last words. Huamin wouldn't feel good if he heard them. Huamin's hands trembled violently as he held the note. Then she cried for a very long time. In the end, the baby in her stomach moved violently and she managed to control her emotions. The baby seemed to have sensed his mother's agitation as well. He was so scared that he kept turning around in her stomach. Huamin gasped for breath. He felt like he was about to suffocate. No one had ever made her feel so bad before. Not even when Huasiqian died. Huamin saw with his own eyes that in the dream, Huasiqian snatched her explosives and wanted to die together with Layla. Then he was blown to pieces. That scene was already heartbreaking. But now, Suyu had left her this message in the real world, even though he was in her dream. Huamin felt a sharp pain in his chest. "Child, are you okay?" Master Wu was a little worried. After all, Huamin was a pregnant woman who was about to give birth. Huamin was crying so hard that he couldn't speak. He just kept shaking his head. "Calm down, you're still pregnant." After a while, Huamin gradually calmed down. "Master Wu, did Suyu say anything else when he gave you this note?" "He didn't say anything. I could tell that he was quite conflicted and almost tore it apart. In the end I said that if he wanted to say goodbye he should say goodbye properly. A man shouldn't be shy, so he decided to leave this for you. I actually thought about not giving it to you. After all, Suyu is already like this. You'll only feel bad if you see this, but if I don't give it to you, it's equivalent to depriving him of his last chance to talk to you. So..." Master Wu didn't feel good either and kept smoking. "Master Wu, can you think of a way to send me into the dream to accompany Suyu?" Huamin suddenly asked him. Chapter 45-26. "Mian, what are you doing?" Master Wu froze for a moment. The cigarette ash burned his fingers. "I want to accompany Suyu. Don't do anything stupid. Calm down. Suyu has already sacrificed himself to send everyone back. If you go back like this, his sacrifice will be in vain. Do you know that the biggest reason why Suyu is so determined to enter the dream a second time is because of you? He'll only be at ease if you're doing well." Master Wu understood his disciple's bad temper. Huamin was really Suyu's tribulation. "But I'm not doing well. I miss Suyu. Whenever I think about my friend being left alone in that lonely and cold place, and being trapped for the rest of his life, or even forever, I can't sleep or eat in peace. How can I be fine?" Master Wu moved his lips, wanting to say something, but he didn't know how to refute Huamin. "Master Wu, tell me the truth. Where is Suyu trapped? How long will he be trapped? Is he not even going to have a chance to reincarnate?" Huamin looked at Master Wu with tears in her eyes. "I really don't know about this because I've never experienced it before. But logically speaking, he should be trapped there forever." Huamin clutched her chest and looked up, tears rolling down her face. "I don't want Suyu to be like that. It's unfair to him. What did he do wrong? To be punished like this? Those dream creators came for me, for Yen, and for my father. For the red demon, it has nothing to do with Suyu. I can't let him bear such serious consequences. Master Wu, I beg you, send me in." Huamin wanted Master Wu to send her into the dream. "It's not that I don't want to help you. Neon, the dream creator, is dead. That dream is already a deserted place. There's no exit, but there's no entrance either. I can't send you in. Hearing that Master Wu couldn't do anything, Huamin was in despair. She only felt her vision go black, and then she completely fainted on the ground. When she woke up again, she was already in the VIP ward at Southside. Qin Chu sat beside her, guarding her. Qin Chu's eyes were bloodshot, and his beard was unshaven. It seemed that he had been unconscious for a long time. Hubby, don't move. Lie down. Qin Chu immediately pressed her down. Hubby, how long have I been asleep? 1 day and 1 night. Qin Chu said. So you've been sitting here for a day and a night? Huamin asked him. Qin Chu gave a haggard smile. Even the wrinkles at the corners of his eyes could be clearly seen. Are you stupid? Don't you need to sleep? Huamin looked at Qin Chu with heartache. Are you stupid? Don't you care about our child? Qin Chu asked her. Huamin felt extremely guilty. She was indeed a little selfish. She wanted to find Suyu and repay Suyu's kindness. However, she ignored her husband, her daughters, and the child in her belly. Hubby, I'm sorry. Don't say sorry. There's no need to say sorry between us anymore. I, Qin Chu, can forgive you whatever you do, Huamin, even if it means destroying the world. But please don't leave me behind. You know I can't lose you, never. Qin Chu's tone was gentle and every word was clear. He reached out and held Huamin's wrist, like a pitiful child who was about to be abandoned. Huamin had never seen Qin Chu like this. At this moment he was so helpless and terrified. Don't leave me behind. If you want to leave, take me with you. You're tuning in to the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.